Well, as South Africa returns to lockdown level 3, classrooms are back open for teaching today. Teachers are playing major catch-up, though, after the recent school holidays were brought forward. Primary school classes only start again from the 2nd of August, but all the extended stops and starts means that up to 500,000 more pupils have dropped out of school since the start of the pandemic, according to one study. Well, 2/3 of all teaching time was lost last year, and Basic Education Minister Angie Motshekga believes this has had a devastating effect on schooling. And that's not to mention concerns over the classrooms themselves, many of which have been hollowed out by thieves and vandals. Well, for more on the schools reopening, let's cross to reporter Slindelo Masikane, who's checking out schools across Gauteng today. Slee, thanks so much for joining us. Tell me, how many kids are you seeing actually banging at the front gates this morning to get back into school?
I've seen quite a number, Annika. I mean, we are making our way around several different areas where we are doing and conducting an oversight visit accompanied by Gauteng Education MEC Panyaza. We have had a moment to speak to some high school learners, actually in particular matriculants, who have expressed how they are not only just excited but really ready to get back to the classroom to really start or continue rather with their education and ensuring that they are getting as much as they can from their teachers. They're saying that the winter break was very much welcome, but they are more anxious to just get the curriculum going. But we are here at Law School Commando, where the MEC is here. It's the second school rather, Annika, that he's visited, and what he's been shown is that the school is actually in quite a dilapidated state. We know that several schools, in fact, have been looted, around 53 schools that have been looted. That has affected them in the manner in which they are reopening, but we also have a number of schools in the province that do need some attention when it comes to their infrastructure. But let's just take a listen to what the MEC had to say around the vandalism.
In terms of the school, I'm happy. But in terms of the entire province, it's extremely difficult, I must be honest. We've got challenges of vandalism. A majority of our schools were vandalized, 52 to be precise. Actually, over the weekend, a new school in Soweto called Albertina Susura was vandalized. So we've got almost 53 schools that were vandalized. Then we have problems of water pressures in some of our communities, especially in predominantly informal settlements that we are trying to rectify. And then the response of educators. You know, we have vaccinated educators in the sector. There are some educators that refuse to vaccinate. So we are trying to find a mechanism so that they can come back, especially those that demonstrated that they are still well, but that those that are sick. So on the basis of that, we really believe that by the 2nd of August, we'll make a firm decision whether all learners should come back. But so far, so good.
Slindelo, is staggered learning taking place at most schools opening in Gauteng this week?
Certainly so. I mean, if I just give you a picture, Annika, here at Law School Commando, it is a primary school, so we're going to avoid showing you the kids' faces.
Sure.
But teaching and learning has certainly resumed, and we are seeing that teachers as well as the department have taken quite a number of precautionary measures in terms of ensuring that learners are wearing their masks, that they're social distancing, and that teaching and learning can really get off to a good start. We know that with primary schools in particular, they'll be going back to a traditional timetable from next week.
Slee, I know at the private schools, when there's a Monday, Wednesday, Friday program and the kids are staggered, many of them are working online. At some of the government schools, is online even an option?
For some it is, but what we have noticed is that majority of public schools are going back to face-to-face teaching, because you would understand that when it comes to resources, when it comes to access to data, connectivity, laptops and computers, many of our learners in our public schools certainly don't have that, which is why I think the Ministry of Basic Education, as well as some of the MECs, have expressed just how teaching and learning needs to continue. When I was speaking to the MEC earlier, he was saying to me that we are risking having a generation of children that didn't actually go to school, which is why it is so important that while we're celebrating the lower levels of lockdown and how businesses can operate, we also need to allow children to be able to go back to school.
And it's not just the academia, Slee, as you know, it's the psychological effect that not mingling with one's peers and the social aspects of not being at school has had on so many kids. In terms of the vandalism, I mean, it's very difficult to find any sympathy for people who destroyed school infrastructure. Is the MEC in any position to say when those schools will be fixed?
Not at this stage. However, he did say that while those schools were vandalized, teaching and learning has resumed in those schools. It's just a matter now of trying to replace some of those resources that were looted or damaged. But saying, of course, it's going to take a lot of time. But the main priority right now is trying to get as many learners back into the classroom as possible.
Slindelo Masikane, thank you so much. As always, you're doing a door-to-door on several schools in Gauteng today as lockdown level 3 has been introduced and most pupils are going back to school.